What's going on, people? So you joined the day after in Hue. The national park about 7:30, got to Hue about midnight. Went for some dinner, very late dinner, when no one was in bed at 3 o'clock. So I have done nothing today, which just slept. Basically just woke up and had a nap and then got myself up for some lunch at, it's now 5 o'clock. Today, I just want to talk about a night bus. So that was my first experience of a night bus. Very interesting concept. Obviously, I was only in it for 4 hours, so it technically wasn't like a night bus for me, but basically all the seats were like flat, like basically like if you imagine being at a swimming pool, like beds. It was really weird, so little beds, and then basically people sat in the aisle, and I was in the back row, and there were 5 of us crammed on the back, and there were 5 above us. Very interesting concept. I feel like it was comfortable, to be fair. To be comfortable, it was comfortable for sort of 4 hours. And just not much headroom for someone who's 6 foot, so that was quite difficult. I was doing a long journey, and personally I didn't think I could do it. Like I couldn't sort of maybe do it after 4 hours. I think it's too much for my back, basically. It wasn't too bad. The drive was crazy. Like I've never seen a bus driver go so quickly. It was ridiculous. Seeing him shooting down motorways or roads very, very quickly. So the hotel last night, £11 a night, was very, very, very nice. From the hotel to a hostel, got some breakfast, and then we just passed out and died. Haven't really done anything today, just getting some lunch now. So I think my plan is try and tick off a couple of the attractions here in Hue. This evening, we're downside, it's sunset is in about half an hour. It's cold and wet and rainy. Actually it's dry at the minute, but it was raining earlier on, so that's less than ideal. So we'll see what I can get done. It's going to be very productive days. I have a time restriction because of the weather. Everything done in tomorrow and Tuesday, and then Wednesday I'm doing a thing called the Hue Van Pass. I think the weather's looking beautiful on Wednesday, and the day after is quite rainy, so I think I've got to take a chance and do it on Wednesday. Basically, if anyone's watched Top Gear in the Vietnam special, it's basically the incredible coastal road between Hue and a place called Hoi An. So the view's meant to be incredible. There's a couple of stops on the way, maybe jump in a waterfall or something. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully do that Wednesday. So that's the plan. So next scenes maybe later on today. Right, how are we doing? So walking on Perfume River. Very moody this evening, very overcast. Looks like it could rain, less than ideal. Now, behind me, I believe, is a bridge for motorcycles. Now, I've heard about this, and basically, in Vietnam, you'll have bridges where only motorcycles are able to use them, and maybe pedestrians, but they're not built for cars. So it's a weird concept, because you just think, well, you know, shouldn't they be built for cars? But it's quite unique. I think it just shows how ingrained the motorcycle culture is here in Vietnam. Like, I think in majority, if not all the cities, there is no public transport infrastructure, there is no train, metro, very few buses. It's almost like as soon as you're old enough, you get on a motorcycle, you start riding. You know, I've seen, 3 of them on a motorcycle. You've seen a guy carrying goods on the back of his motorcycle. This whole motorcycle culture is so ingrained in Vietnam, and personally I love it. I actually want to get on a motorcycle at some point. Maybe not this trip, but it's something that, like I said, I have spoken about. I just think for me, as like an adventure seeker, I love it. And obviously I've been on the back of grabs and stuff, and when the wind rushes in your face, like, it is just cool. It is just really cool, and like, I would step on a motorcycle because I think it's just something I've never done, and I think I'd really enjoy it. Back on one, I've enjoyed it. So, but yeah, and I think Vietnam is the place where, like, if you have, if you enjoy motorcycles or bikes, then it's the place to do it. It's in the culture. Like, you have bike shops specifically for that. Everyone's riding one. I think this is the motorcycle bridge. Quite cool, very, very cool. And obviously there's a pedestrian walkway as well. So yeah, it's motorcycling ingrained in the culture of Vietnam. But if I stood here, then I'd be able to show you what I mean by people just carry things on motorbikes. Like, for example, that woman's got flowers, the woman's carrying a cake just there. What else? We've got a whole family on there. It's crazy, it's absolutely crazy. If you're coming from the UK, it doesn't sound, until you see it, you're like, how do they do it? But they seem to make it work. Morning, how are we doing? We're lazy this morning, very, very lazy. Just slept in, had about 11 hours sleep. Hasn't sorted me out, I'm still tired, but we moved in Hue. First stop, Pagoda, it's Nguyen Mu Pagoda, which is right behind me. Have a look. This is a Buddhist temple, that's why it's so famous. That's the pagoda. And then sort of behind, similar to the temple literature in Hue, similar sort of setup in terms of an area for praying, etc. at the back. So yeah, very interesting. So I'll head out of here. My Grab driver's waiting for me to go drop me in the Citadel. So the Citadel is probably probably the most famous thing in Hue. It was the site of one of the fiercest battles of the Vietnam War. So we're going to take a look. Hopefully show you guys some bits. Yeah, hopefully tell you a bit more about it. So the pagoda that we saw, that's the Phuoc Duong Tower, official symbol of the former imperial capital. And it's pretty huge, to be fair. The place also was like a hotbed for basically anti-government protests in like the 60s. Join me at Hue Citadel. On the flat side behind me, you can see sort of like the munition sort of things. I don't know what you call them. I've forgotten the name of them. The basically where they're firing, you'd fire things out, they're still there, engraved in the walls. So I said earlier, this place, it's a huge complex, very big, it goes for like, it's like a 5-minute walk that way. Yeah, this place was obviously a place of huge significance in the Vietnam War because of where Hue is, middle of the country in terms of Vietnam. See, the north and south were fighting. This was seen as a massive strategic point and seen a place that was quite important because of, it was like well yeah, it was just seen as a place that was very important because of its location and in terms of being a crucial city in terms of for both sides, the north and the south. Very, very busy. Behind me. So yeah, it's a huge complex. Obviously you just saw the moat there. And as I mentioned, this was the site of one of the bloodiest battles in the Vietnam War. This is the Chuang Duc Gate. So it's on the west of the Citadel, and basically this was the gate that was featured in Top Gear, Top Gear Vietnam Special, and I think they've redesigned it. I know when they were here, whenever they filmed that, there was basically bullet holes to show sort of the attack on Hue and how it was left, but obviously since that point they've gone over it and created something very colourful. But it's weird, it's like you stand here and you think, well, it's a massive site, this Citadel, and you think like, you know, of some of the things that probably happened here, the battles and, you know, how big sort of that battle was, etc. And yeah, it's weird, it's very weird. It's like this is a massive part of history, a massive part of Vietnam's history as a country. What, Vietnam War was maybe 50 years ago, so there are people who are living in Vietnam now who were alive during that point, and you know, it's crazy, it's absolutely crazy. And I think again it's similar to Cambodia and Laos in terms of this area of the world is, I don't know, that even my knowledge of it is very poor. Not taught about it in the UK. In the UK didn't we get involved? But it's, you know, it's a war that's known worldwide. Every time you think of Vietnam, you think probably, you know, one of your first reference points is the Vietnam War. I understand it was basically a proxy war between the communist and capitalist sort of regimes, but again, it's just the understanding of the war and understanding of what caused it is very poor until I went away and had a little bit of a look to try and understand it and to understand what this area of the world's been through and why, you know, you've got landmines in Cambodia and Laos, and why Laos was bombed so much, and obviously the situation here in Vietnam, and how we're now in a situation of where Vietnam is as a country. Very interesting, or very, I suppose, humbling. But it's, yeah, so just to stop, even I think even here, like, pretty sure those are like bullet holes, maybe. Yeah, all that. Very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. And I suppose it's good to see Vietnam's progression as a nation. Obviously it's not perfect, like every country in the world, it has its issues, but it's progressed a lot in the last 20-25 years. And it's, you know, it's now a massive sort of, I suppose it's becoming an economic powerhouse in Southeast Asia. Sort of investment in Vietnam, and there's a lot of people visiting, like myself, because obviously to see this wonderful place. So back on Hue Walking Street, which is where basically I'm staying, just basically next to this ice cream place, Unicorn ice cream, which is really fun, really good. Just thought I had some lunch and then got it's about a 7-minute motorbike from there, from where I had lunch, just back to the Walking Street. I just want to quickly talk about taxis in Asia. It's really annoying how they try and rip you off. For example, today I was getting a Grab motorbike back from the Citadel and back to the Walking Street, and the guy was trying to charge me 30,000 dong. Now when you looked on Grab, the same trip was 15,000 dong, so you're basically doubling the price. And what's interesting, this has happened all over Asia. It's almost like to get the correct price, and so you're not being ripped off, you almost have to ask them the price, divide it by 2 and take a tiny bit off, and you're actually at the real price. It's really frustrating me, the way of getting around it. The only way you can sort of get around it is show grab on your phone, which unfortunately I don't have a phone out here on Wi-Fi, so it makes life a bit difficult. But it is really frustrating, and it is really annoying because, like, again, it's the principle of the issue. I genuinely don't know if I've already talked about this, but it's like, why are you charging me double than the market rate? And it's just, I don't know, it's just very frustrating. Obviously I spoke about it in Doi Hung, but it's rife all over Asia. I experienced it in Taiwan, I experienced it in Cambodia, Laos. It's just like, if you try and pick up a taxi off the street, they will try to rip you off, and it's just very frustrating for a traveller. Principle of the matter, like, you're doubling the price to me, and you're not really giving an explanation. The other thing I want to talk about as well is, like, people talk to me about how, oh, food in Asia is so cheap, and I do agree that it is obviously cheaper than the UK, and obviously you can get sort of a good standard meal for £4 or £5. However, it's all very well saying the food's cheap, but in most cases when you're paying maybe £1, £1.50, £2 for a meal, the amount of food you're getting is very low. To give you an example, I've just had a meal then and it cost me 55,000 dong, which is basically about £1.80, £1.90. However, the portion size was basically a kid's meal. Like, it was chicken with vegetables and rice, and there was literally about 2 or 3 small pieces of chicken in that. And I'm still hungry now, so I've gone and got an ice cream. It's just, again, a bit frustrating, but you know, I think that's partly why, one of the reasons why obviously food's so cheap, but you're not getting a full adult portion size in my book. An adult portion size that I'm used to, and again, constantly hungry, so it is very frustrating, but that's Asia for you. Anyway, enough of my complaining and whinging. I'm still very grateful to be able to travel the world and see places. I'm going to head back to my hostel, I'm going to chill for a bit, and then in about half an hour, 40 minutes, I'm going to train and go to a gym called Olympic Fitness. I've had a look and it looks decent, so looking forward to that. Right, what's going on? So it's about 7 PM now. Go to a gym and train. Not ideal, I'll be honest. I'm a bit tired, walking about most of the day, but if I don't go and train today, don't know when I'm going to be able to train. So it's one of those where it's mind over matter, just got to get it done. Right, done. Finished at Olympic Fitness here in Hue. Just give you a quick tour. Decent gym, very good gym. About, I think it was like £4.87 for a day pass, which isn't too bad. So, a bit of like a sort of free area, I suppose. Weights, not weights. Balls, medicine balls, dumbbells, kettlebells. Rack full dumbbells. Got bench presses, incline, flat, decline. And you got sort of leg machines, leg machine, 3 racks. Got some weight stuff here. Another power rack there. They've got 2 lat pull downs. Another lat pull down there. Deadlift area over here. Then some upper stuff as well. And then there's some lat raise and ab machine. And then they got this cage here, got a few bits. So yeah, right, I'm done. 5 to 9 here. Gonna go get some decent session. I hit a tiny bit of legs, need to train legs, but again, struggling with this injury, so it's difficult. Apart from that, upper was decent, so I can't complain. The only thing is I wasn't sure on the Olympic bar weight. It didn't feel like 20 kilos, so I'm not entirely sure what I was lifting, but decent session, that's all I can do. There's a guy who used to lift. Anyway, next scenes will be probably tomorrow. Busy day tomorrow, it's full day in Hue. Wednesday, booked my bus to Da Nang, going via the Hoi Vang Pass, which is famous because of Top Gear. So stay tuned for that. Right, see you guys in a bit.